evening, everyone, and welcome to another highly hyped episode of TerrorCrave. We're your hosts for the evening, Lee and Jason. Jason, what's up, dude?
What's going on, Lee? I'm excited, man.
I am as well, because if you guys have not noticed already, there is a third screen there. We have a special guest star known as Jake Fogg. You guys will probably know him out there in the social media world as Foggy Night 14. Oh, that's his Instagram handle. Jake, what's up, dude? How are you?
I thought this was the Jimmy Kimmel show. What's up? No, what's up, guys?
That's
Awesome
just the email says that.
Yeah.
Jimmy Kimmel.
I got
Yeah.
duped. I was like, oh man.
We
Yeah.
lulled him into a false sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although I will say, your first clue should have been the green room,
Yeah, it's true.
or lack thereof, or lack
Yeah,
thereof.
yeah, the instructions just walk to your couch and get on your laptop was
Yeah.
would have been a giveaway. What's up, guys?
What's going on, my friend? Nah, man. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Always.
Yeah, guys, like we said, we've got a special episode. So this is going to be a little bit a detour of what we typically talk about. We're going to be kind of comics oriented and cosplay oriented because we do have Jake here with us. Jake, for those of them out there who've probably seen some pictures of you and things like that, why don't we take a step back and talk to everybody about how you maybe got into this whole cosplay thing and just really how it's kind of blown up for you over the past few years.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I started in 2020. Honestly, just kind of for fun and messing around with, with friends, and like, you always make fun of me for having like a Superman curl or like, different characters and nerding out and just having a good time. So went to my first Comic-Con in Raleigh just like as myself, and was kind of introduced to the world of people dressed up and having a great time. And I was like, oh man, this looks like so much fun, and just kind of was like, oh, I'd love to do that. So did a little research and put on my first suit, which was fun. And it just took off. I started with Superman, transitioning to Batman because that's my guy right there. And yeah, I mean, at first it was just for fun and just having a good time and getting a chance to meet people and go to events. And then was fortunate enough to through social media kind of get seen by Zack Snyder and some of the people over at Warner Brothers and DC, and got contacted to start doing ambassador and brand stuff for them, which was really, really cool and like mind-blowing at the same time. And it just kind of transitioned to getting to do stuff for Disney and Marvel, and branding with different companies, whether it's like doing lightsaber reviews or fashion or whatever. It's just been a world of like just unbelievable stuff that's still mind-blowing to me. But getting to dress up as characters that I love and do my little interpretation, do photo shoots and go to events and guest at cons. I know, like, you saw me briefly at one as Mando, and getting to interact with different people, and then also doing a lot of charity work with children's hospitals and Make-A-Wish Foundation and stuff like that, which is honestly like my favorite thing to do. Getting to use Batman or Spider-Man or whatever the character might be to try and uplift other people is really, really fun. So it's been a blessing. It's hopefully the start of many, many, many other things that are to come. But yeah, it's been a crazy 2 years. It's like started as a hobby and then it turned into like a part-time, full-time job. It's crazy.
So, Jake, when I met you through Lee just a couple short years ago, when you signed your contract with BT Haunts Productions,
My lifetime deal.
Yeah. So when you told me that you were doing cosplay, and I knew what cosplay was, but I never really like checked into it or anything. And then you sent me like a couple of photos of you in your Superman suit.
Yeah.
And my kid is like, yeah, that's Superman. I mean, it's amazing. I'm thinking, all right, I just met this guy. He's going to send me a picture of him in a Superman suit, like costume. Like I was thinking, like this dude went to Spirit
like
Halloween,
yeah,
and got this. But this is so after I saw that, and then other work that you had done as other characters, And then I started seeing like some of the people that you were in photos with.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at their stuff, and I'd look at stuff they were with other people. It's really like a way of life, man. It's pretty awesome. I mean, these aren't your run of the mill,
No.
costumes, man.
No.
These things are awesome.
Yeah, they're very there's some extremely, I mean, that's really been the most eye-opening thing to me is how talented some of the costume makers and prop makers and like the designers that do stuff, what they do. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to work with a company out of Mexico and England, depending on what character it is, or one's Disney, one's Warner Brothers, but I mean, you would swear it came off of a movie set, with the level of quality, and meeting people at cons that work with the same level of people or make it themselves, which is even crazier. Like one of my best friends, Jared, he has a full armored Arkham Knight suit that looks right out of the video game, and he made it himself. He did all the LED lights himself, so it lights up. He did all the technical work. He did all the armor bits. He did all the 3D printing, the weathering. And I've been, the longer I've done it, the more I'm convinced that if you did a movie with just cosplayers, it would probably be better than the people making it, because these people are so passionate about the characters that they do, and they know so much about them. It's just like it's insane. And like you said, there's people I meet where I'm like, that's Wonder Woman, or like I'm friends with Wonder Woman. I'm friends with, Captain America. Like I know it's crazy, but yeah, it's really bizarre. And then to your point, like the craziest thing to me is, and it's definitely the suit, especially with Batman, is how people react to you in the suit. Like even when we did, when we shot and then we did the movie, and it was just me as me, and like everyone's just normal with me, and then as soon as you change into the bat suit, you just feel like everybody's not talking to you anymore, but like everybody stares at you, and like you just feel like they completely change around you, because they're like, holy crap, like that's Batman. And like you literally see grown men like geek out. Like Lee was geeking out like super hard.
I mean, well, it's just amazing because like you said, it's been what
yeah, I mean,
over 2 years, 3 years
for every day for months and months and
yeah.
months.
But also just to be able to see the growth of how this has kind of taken off for you as well, because I do remember when you were very first dabbling in it, right? When we met, you weren't doing the cosplay thing. You know what I mean? When we met those couple years ago, you weren't doing that, and I remember you actually getting involved with it, and just to kind of see how the growth and how it's kind of taken off is really cool. And it goes to show too, kind of like your first cosplay stuff, just how it's grown. You mentioned this already. You kind of hinted at it, that it's kind of gone from, even the first suit you had though wasn't like put together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was still pretty incredibly awesome.
Yeah.
But now, like you said, people are making suits for you. When I saw you at the Comic Con with the Mandalorian, I mean, you've got so many different looks, and you pull them off, and you're kind of going outside of just the DC and the Marvel stuff too. I mean, you dabbled in the Disney. I've seen the I don't know their names, but the henchmen of Cruella de Vil. You know what I mean? I saw you lifting those Dalmatians, man. I saw you taking those Dalmatians, trying to get them.
Hell yeah!
But
that was the greatest day of my life. That was the greatest shoot I've ever done in my life. Like puppies. Yeah, I'm in.
That was so. It was really endearing. I saw you. But no, that, and then I think you dabbled into the Hocus Pocus. So a lot of Disney stuff. I mean, just it's been really cool to kind of see how it's evolved, and how your cosplay career has evolved. And as Jason hinted at too, I should have said at the beginning, we've been doing a lot of work together with BT Haunts as well, with the movies and stuff like that. So I see how you're dedicated on the set of that. So I can only imagine that's the type of dedication you bring to the cosplay and stuff that you do.
Yeah, and I know we have a bunch of passion projects that we'll be working on in the future. I mean, that's the craziest thing for me in interacting. It's cool, before I started, and just how often we talked about movies and people who run the movies, make the movies, the actors, and you wonder like, what are they like? And oh, I wish I could tell them this if I met them. And then through the stuff I've been fortunate enough to do, going to cons and meeting these people, and hanging out with them and actually getting to talk to them and see how they interact and like how they react to you dressed up as them, you know, and in the stories that have come out of that. And then, you know, the interactions on social media, especially like on Twitter, you realize how appreciative a lot of these people who portray these characters are. You know, they'll share your work and they, you know, they'll push you to do different things. And like, you know, having comic artists be like, hey, you should recreate one of my art things. It's like, dude, that's so freaking cool, you know. And you know, the in you know, trying to push myself a little out of my element, you know, like with the Hocus Pocus thing, you know, there, to be frank, I'd never seen Hocus Pocus up until they asked me to do something. And then like I did Billy Sanderson, which if you've seen the movie, you see what he looks like. I thought he was like gonna, admittedly, I thought he was gonna be like a pretty boy prince, and then realized what he looked like and was like, oh my god, like I don't know how to do any of that. And then, you know, just some of the makeup talent that people have, and like I was just like, this is crazy, and getting to have fun with that guy and doing it and going, you know, getting invited to the premiere for that. And then having Billy, the guy who plays Billy, share it and stuff like that, I'd be like, that's so cool. You know, just stuff like that. It's cool to see, you know, and be involved in. Like, I pinch myself all the time, but yeah,
So what, you hadn't seen Hocus Pocus until
not until I agreed to do Hocus Pocus, and then I had to watch it, so I knew, and then I saw him and I was like, oh, that's Billy. I was like, oh no. And I was like, how do I do this? And they're like, makeup, prosthetics, wigs, we got you. And it's
well,
like, okay.
you did great in that. And I don't know if we're gonna redo Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I was thinking you for the part of Dr. Frankenfurter.
That's fine.
You heard it here first, guys. You
Yeah,
heard
there
it
you
here
go.
first.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the salary for that on air too? So
Exactly.
No,
Right.
no, no, no.
Let's get this whole thing
Yeah,
documented. For
yeah.
Jake, what is the hardest? What is the best experience, I guess, you've had with cosplay?
uh
And
two
let's keep it PG. No, I'm just joking.
oh that Batman effect, man.
Yeah.
There's two really. One, I'd say one in person and one well, I'm sorry. There's got to be three that I have to highlight. One was I did a photo with Ryan Sims, who's like the most talented guy ever. He does a lot of like the crazy edits that you see, and I did a Heart of Ice homage about a year and a half ago. It was like a Batman with Mr. Freeze, and it was to highlight, you know, my favorite episode of the Batman the animated series, which was Heart of Ice. And then, as I said, with the power of social media and Twitter and stuff, like Kevin Conroy, who, like, you know, the late Kevin Conroy, God rest his soul. He you know, he saw it, retweeted it out, and was like, this is unbelievable, blah blah blah. And like, I screenshotted it. I'm like, oh my god, the Batman that I grew up with, like, sees my work and like sees my Batman and is like geeking out. And then getting a chance to meet him at a con, he like remembered me. He was like, you're the Heart of Ice guy. And I was like, oh my god, like Kevin Conroy like knows who I am. And like getting to talk with him, you know, it was just like crazy to me. So that was one. During the whole Snyder Cut thing, like I said, I do stuff for an app called Vero. And Zack Snyder's a big part of that. So getting on a Zoom call with Zack Snyder, Ben Affleck, Ray Fisher, and Deborah Snyder, and getting a chance to actually talk about the Snyder Cut and their, like, just some of the stuff with them was really cool. And then in person, I gotta say, meeting Brendan Fraser, he was like the nicest guy ever. And you know, he's one of my favorite people. I just love who he is as a person. And you know, I'm a big fan of The Mummy and George of the Jungle, and just getting a chance to meet him and having like a really cool interaction with him for about 20-30 minutes, dressed as Rick O'Connell while meeting him. And then my friend Liz was Evelyn from The Mummy, and he was like so like proud of us like wearing that stuff, and just like couldn't have been more like oh, thank you so much for dressing up. Like, that movie means so much to me. Like, I don't get to see a lot of Ricks and Evelyns. Like, that's so cool. And having a photo with him was cool. And he as soon as we walked, when he saw us, he was like, Evelyn, you never wrote me back. Like, he was like just the funniest, like coolest guy. So just knowing it, like some of the people that you look up to are like really, really nice. And I would say those would be the big three for me. They're just like, this is nuts.
But see, these are three of many reasons that BT Haunts is very proud that Jake is part of our crazy group.
Yeah, that is pretty cool that we've got him with us as well. We've done 3 films and got 4th one ready to rock and roll here in the next few weeks that we'll be releasing.
I'm keen on, I was with you guys before all this, and whatever happens, good, bad, or between, like I'm with you guys. So it's fun. It's cool to see, people like get excited for like stuff, opportunities you have, and hopefully at some point getting a chance to bring friends to different things and let them have a little experience with it. And it's really cool to see a lot of like the people that I know, they're like, oh, I started cosplaying because your page, and I thought it was like so cool, and like I want to do that. And people are like, oh, like that looks so fun, like let me try. And it that's always cool, to inspire other people to try and do it too, and just have fun with it, because it really is. It's a blast to do. It really is.
Well, I think my feelings were hurt a little bit when, I'm a horror guy, and then we've done the 3 little short horror films and got another one coming, but we did the little very short, just like a sneak peek of Halloween Night. And that's what I get asked about more than anything. And they don't want to know about Night Shifter or, the coast. They want to know about, man, I want to see the fight. That's what they want to see. Just like, oh, have you seen the cozening? No, I haven't seen that one.
Just tell them the fights at the end of the cozening, and then like, oh, the Batman scene went in there. That's weird.
Oh yeah, there. It's in Anthology. You have to watch Anthology.
Yes,
it's on that.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, before we go into some other topics, I did want to ask you. I asked you your best. Before we move on the cosplay stuff, what is your worst experience that you've had in the cosplay world?
Oh, easy. I had a heat stroke in Batman. What people don't realize is that suit is a nightmare. No pun intended. It's like wearing an oven. I can't see. I can't hear very well. You're tripping over your own cape all the time. And I did a shoot outside in probably like June or July of 2021. And it was hot, man. I mean, how it is. It's humid. And I was like, yo, you gotta wait for that sun to go down or else I'm gonna die. And they didn't. And I lasted 15 minutes and I was mid shot, like started seeing black spots, and down I went. Like literally 15 minutes. I had a genuine heat stroke, and it was not fun. It was
which bat suit was that? Was that the Nightmare one?
No. It was my first comic one that I had.
Okay.
The Nightmare one's even more insulting because it's like, it's hot enough. Let's give him a coat. let's give him another.
I know the night we were filming, it was cool, and you were just like, I got to get out of this thing.
Oh,
I got to get out
of
this thing.
It was like a late February, and he was still burning.
I'm not even kidding. I could shoot outside for probably 8 hours in negative 10-degree weather, and I would be sweating my nuts off. Like, it's so hot in that suit, and because it's there's nowhere for the heat to go. It sucks you in, and then it's tight and you can't move, and it's miserable, but it's a blast. It's a hypocritical thing to wear because you're miserable but you feel awesome, and like people are like yelling, and you're like, I can hear you but I don't know where because I can't see or hear, and I can't really see you, but you're kind of there. It's mad props to all the Batman actors. That's all I can say. Mad props.
Oh man.
Hey, so complete honesty, when you put on the suit, do you become the character?
Yeah, 1000%.
I would think you would have to.
You can't help not to. I feel like anybody was just. It's like the wildest. I can't even explain it really. Like, especially when you put the cowl on and you just kind of notice like your posture's different. Like you walk different, your energy's different. Like you walk and people just like get out of the way,
Yeah.
and or they just like they're just like staring at you, you know, and like it, like I said, it's I really can't explain it unless you've done it's wild. I mean, you've kind of seen it, you know, even within our little group, you know, when it happens and people are just like, oh
Yeah.
snap. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard not to, especially like, you know, I grew up with that characters for my whole life, and that's I've watched everything that he could possibly be, and so like I have understanding of, oh, he would say that, oh, he would move like that, like
Yeah.
I just know, you know.
Well, dude, I could speak on it. Like you said, you inferred this earlier, but when we were there on set and we were filming and we did the Halloween night thing, I mean, I was with you in your persona of Jake Fogg,
Yeah.
and then you came out in the bat suit, and I was a fanboy. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, oh snap, Batman's here. You know, it was awesome. It and the suits are that awesome, and you pull it off, like I said, dude. I mean,
Thank you.
whether
Yeah.
it's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man,
Well,
Mandalorian,
I had a hard
whatever
time
it is.
filming that evening because I kept like just like staring at him like that thing, man, he looks so much like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, man. Just
I
like
I've
it's your whole demeanor and everything, the way you turn and everything. It was perfect.
the I've been asked several times at events, like, are you Ben Affleck? And I'm like, I want to say yes so bad, but I'm just like, no. But I'm also like, you think he would just like be here, like in his suit by himself, like in Virginia, just walking around? Like it's really funny. But yeah,
That's
and you guys know me, like I'm literally like smiles, laughs, joking all the time, and you know, but my friends get them too. Like as soon as that cow goes on, it's like switch on, and it's just like brood, you know. And partially because I think I'm dying so much on the inside, it makes it very easy to just be miserable because I'm just sweating.
awesome, man. Awesome. Well, dude, we can't have you on the show and not talk about some of the more recent things that have happened here in the DC
Yeah,
Marvel universe. First, you just mentioned this a little bit ago. I think it's worth mentioning and discussing for a hot second, or even more. Kevin Conroy,
yeah,
passed a few days ago, and to a lot of us, he
yeah,
was the best personification of Batman
yep,
ever. You know what I
hands
mean?
down,
And he just did it all with just his voice, and people still think that is the best characterization of Batman
hands down.
ever put on screen. And
Yep,
and that animated crosses over to live action, and it's still the
yeah,
best.
yeah.
I mean, do you think, even though in the past few years they've definitely moved on, I guess, in the DC animated universe to other actors playing him and stuff, but they always came back to Kevin Conroy every now and then. If there was like some special movie
Yeah,
or some
gotta be
special
him.
thing, they grabbed him to do it. You know what I mean? I mean, he's gonna terribly he'll be missed terribly.
Yeah.
Do you think there's gonna be somebody that has in the that does the animated stuff that will ever be looked at again, that kind of takes his mantle and
Man,
moves on?
I don't know. I doubt it because he did so much for such a long time. Whether it's Batman animated series, the video games,
Yeah.
the animated movies, I mean, he did the live action crossover with CW. He was
Oh, the
amazing,
Crisis. When he did the
right?
Crisis, yeah, he played the
Yeah, I
older
mean,
older Bruce Wayne.
yeah, I mean, he just did so much, and like the Batman animated series and Arkham games, they hold up now. Like, they're still just as popular now as they were back then.
Yeah.
So I just can't see it. I mean, I've heard other voice actors do it. Even the latest with Jensen Ackles, and he did a great
Yeah.
job, but it just isn't the same. And I mean, I dare anybody, I think everybody does, when they read a Batman comic, you just hear Kevin in your head.
You don't hear Michael Keaton.
No, you don't. And the thing about him, like I said, I got a chance to that I should highlight too is getting, I've only gotten a brief 15, 20 minutes with him, but when I tell you this was like the nicest guy ever, like he was so appreciative of everybody that just gave so much love to him for Batman, and he like truly like you could tell he just loved it, and he loved talking about
Yeah.
the character and his experiences. And even when he's just doing his normal voice, you're like on the inside, you're just like, oh my god, Batman's talking to me. Like you're just hearing Batman talk, and it's just like, wow. But he understood the mantle that he had, and he man, he was just like the nicest guy. Like, I can't tell you how nice he was. And just like every person was like, thank you so much. I did I don't know if you remember with LT did that cameo and got
Yeah.
Kevin. And most of those times people do 30 seconds, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. This man talked for 7.5 minutes. Like didn't have to do that. He talked like about everything and the character. And I mean, it's crazy to hear his story. I mean, honestly, I didn't know he was gay. I had no idea until the Pride, and just hear about like his early, he struggled to find work because he was gay, and and then landing on Batman and that duality and how he actually toned into like his personal life to find that. And he was the first one to do 2 different voices, so he kind of like originated that and defined that part of the character too. I just can't see anybody like him. I really don't.
Didn't he just? And actually, I didn't even know he was gay until just now. You just broke that news. But I do recall, did he write a Batman story or a story for the DC Pride comic that came out recently?
Yes, it did. Yeah,
in the past few months. So okay, I did know that. So no, that was so. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be. It's a loss.
Yeah, he's gonna be around for a long time. That voice is gonna live on, definitely.
Jason, did you ever watch the Batman animated series?
I did.
Okay.
Back when I guess when my son Jonathan was growing up, that's when he would have been watching that. That's when you're talking about in the like
it was in the 90s.
Yeah, like later 90s.
It came out like late 90s. I'm sorry, early 90s. It really came out right after Batman Returns. It came out when Batman Returns came out. That animated cartoon came out that fall. Batman Returns came out that summer.
Yeah, that would have been the time that he was growing up. So I know who you're talking about. I know the voice.
Yeah.
I mean, I can hear the voice right now. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's well renowned. So something else too, a big, huge topic. We're on DC, I guess. It was recently announced over the past couple of weeks that James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to be running DC. And I think even this week they announced that they're going to basically, they got the 10-year plan, and I think for a lot of people, like I know you and I, Jake, huge DC fans, and even though we love comics in general, now, I love the Marvel movies. I do. I love the Marvel movies. They're fantastic. But I've always been a little pained that my DC characters, who I do love, I would say more than the Marvel characters, have been just like sitting by the wayside. And now, they're finally gearing up to do something with these guys. They got a 10-year plan coming up. He's made a couple announcements. He's saying you're not going to have 4 Batman running around out there. They're going to simplify this whole thing.
Yeah.
My question to you, to both of you, is do you think that their plan, do you think they'll start with, because James Gunn, he did a fantastic job with Peacemaker. He blew that character up.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to focus? I think I know the Warner Brothers president, his main job is to say, we've got these characters he's mentioned them, Superman, Batman, Flash, Aquaman, Wonder Woman. They're going to be the focus. But I think there's going to be a lot of secondary characters too. James Gunn's been putting a lot. So Mike, do you think they're going to really build this starting off with the main guys? Or do you think there's going to be a lot of secondary people that are being out there as well too? Like he put out Batmite out there on Twitter recently. Sergeant Rock, I think, was one that he threw out. I think it was Sergeant Rock that he threw out there. Leah Lobo, you know what I mean? So some secondary characters.
I feel like Jason Momoa is going to be Lobo. Announced Lobo soon.
But okay, well, and if that's the case, what do you do with Aquaman? So you think it'll just be computer CGI?
I think what they're going to do is because he doesn't really look like a person. So, he would be perfect for CGI. I feel like they're going to have their unified universe. And I think they're going to use those occasional one-offs, Joker, the Batman. Because I think you're going to leave the Batman to his own thing. And obviously, I think when he's referring to the I think Robert's obviously going to be at least one Batman. Whether or not they're going to get Ben to come back too and have 2 Batman, we'll see. But their main focus in the first movie is going to be Superman. Like that's Henry Cavill, and getting him back, I've read, and was such a focus on everything being based around Superman, which it should be. It's Superman. You
100%.
have Henry, you have the perfect Superman. So I'm really, really excited to see them have true guided vision on unifying everything, simplifying everything. But also, I think James Gunn realizes that working with Marvel and seeing it firsthand, you can have these great one-off stories that ultimately accumulate over time to something bigger, but making sure that each character gets their moment to shine, where you can bring in a Lobo or like some of these lesser known characters, just like Marvel did with Guardians and
Right. And they're doing in their whole phase 4, basically, except besides Spider-Man and Thor.
Yeah,
Their
all I
whole
can
phase
say
4.
is I have faith in what they're going to do. I think James Gunn is, and the fact that there's two of them too that are handling different parts, it'll leave room for them not to be overwhelmed. One guy doing everything.
And they're going to have a Bible, which, you know what I mean, that where he's basically stated this, and that's why I think they're going to simplify it.
Yep.
To your point, I don't know how. Are they going to bring the Robert Pattinson Batman into that world? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And I'd totally be okay if we told a separate Batman story, but I do think he's going to try to simplify it, and that means basically having a world building, this being connected to that. Not just these one-offs. This 3 animated cartoons going on over here that have nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? I think everything's going to be under one roof.
Yep.
I am excited to see, but I think they've only signed a 4-year contract, so they're going to put together 10-year plans, signing a 4-year contract. So I think things are going to move fast in the right way, though.
I think honestly, I think they're going to start. I like genuinely. I think they're going to start filming Superman by March. I think they've already known how to plan what they're going to do, who's going to do it. The good news too is he's already met with Steven Spielberg. He's met with Chris Nolan. He's met with
if they got Spielberg in there to freaking do a Superman movie.
Exactly.
I
really appreciate what the new CEO is doing. I mean, he wants quality people making quality products, and that's what he cares about. And to me, that's what it all is about. I mean, you can have the best character in the world. You need a guy like with talent that can make it. Just like I've also seen the director from Top Gun Maverick be attached to a lot. I'm like, that's perfect. Like he obviously knows what he's doing. Chris McQuarrie, he knows what he's doing. Like those are the people he's targeting to do these blockbuster franchises. And I think that's part of what made Marvel great is they have great talented directors matched with great characters, matched with great storytellers, and it turns into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I think DC, they've been open about how appreciative and how much they learned from Marvel and making it their own, so, and they have the superior characters. Like we've talked about it a million times, so I'm really excited to see what they do.
Do you think they could bring the Joaquin Phoenix Joker into the Batman with Robert Patterson?
I think there'd be resistance from Joaquin, and
I do too.
I think that they've got that was the original deal. Now, unless James Gunn can really come in there and make some magic happen, you know what I mean? But I think the timelines don't work.
I don't think they do either, but it
was a young Bruce Wayne.
I don't want either one of those. I'd like to see another the Batman, and I'd like to see Joker too. But I don't know if that's going to get knocked out of the way because of them wanting to build the
cohesive universe.
Yeah.
I think those two, because they're such high profile. I mean, they won Oscars. I think the Joker will continue on. And I do think Matt Reeves' Batman.
Oh yeah,
I think it was viewed as a success. Again, maybe they'll continue to let that be its own thing. And I do think they'll have Affleck Batman back. I really do, and I think they're going to find a way.
If Ben will do it, but I think they're willing. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at him. And I think part of it is he needs to direct, because that's where he's good, is letting him direct. I can tell you what, they announced a Affleck movie, people are going to lose their damn minds.
Yeah,
that's what people want, and
so true.
But
while we're all that, I guess we'll just transition quickly into Black Adam, and then we'll end with the big one that just popped out a few days ago. So Black Adam, what did you think about that? I know, Jason, we'll start with you. What did you think about it, Jason?
I loved it, man. I'm like you guys. I grew up a DC guy more than a Marvel guy. Like I had more of their action figures than the Marvel guys. And how you were talking about bringing in the lesser known characters, which I don't think he was lesser known because I watched Justice League growing up. You know what I mean? So um I had the Hall of Justice and all of my first was Flash. That was my first action figure. And then of course Superman. And I just got Flash
Did you have the
because
superpowers? Did you have the superpowers action figures? The
yeah.
ones that if you squeeze the Flash's arms, his
Yeah,
legs would move.
yeah, his legs moved. Yeah. But
Superpowers, they brought it back now. They brought the superpowers back. McFarlane did.
yeah,
The
but they don't.
figures. They don't do the
Yeah,
moves. They don't do the
no,
moves,
no.
but they are back as
I
superpowers
still have
fly.
some. I had I can't remember his name. I don't know if he was called the Tornado or he looked like a samurai. Used like he turned into like a tornado.
No, he was called Samurai. He was a
Yeah.
character. He was a character from Super Friends.
So you
That
squeeze his
was
legs and
there was three
his arm.
characters that was made up. For some reason, I don't know why they did it, but Super Friends, instead of taking like Black Lightning, they had Black Vulcan. You know, they created these
Yeah.
three minority characters: Apache Chief,
Oh yeah, that grew real tall.
grow
Yeah,
real
I remember
tall,
it.
Samurai, the Asian or the guy you're talking about, right? Who
Yeah,
would spin. You're talking
yeah,
about him, right? The samurai, and
yeah.
then Black Vulcan, as I said, and I don't know. Those are the three
Hmm.
minority characters they created that were not based on they were created for the cartoon and not the.
Okay.
They weren't based on comic book characters, which was weird because they had Black Lightning. So I guess they didn't want to pay. Well, I think I do know the story. They didn't want to pay the creator of Black Lightning to use him, so they created their own character, Black Vulcan,
Interesting.
which is
Well,
pretty sad.
well, the reason I brought up the Justice League and those cartoons and the action figures is one of my favorite was Hawkman.
Hmm.
Oh yeah,
And he was and we were talking about bringing back some of the lesser known, but I don't know if he's lesser known, but he definitely hadn't really he hasn't had his own movie or anything like that. So
No.
I was glad they brought him back. I was actually looking for I was kind of hoping the Wonder Twins were going to be. Don't ask me why. You know who I'm
Well,
talking about?
oh, we know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, we know you're talking about the one
Stan
twin.
and Jada and
Yeah.
Gleek. I mean, they had a movie before they were supposed to be filming a movie this summer. They had cast
They
the
got canceled real quick
roles
by
and
David
everything.
Zaslav. He was like, "Nope."
Yeah, I
Exactly.
get it.
Actually, I think it's funny. I think they announced he was playing them, and then like the next day, they were like, "No."
It was within 3 weeks. It wasn't
was
immediately the next day.
it was
But
so
they
fast.
announced KJ Appa, who plays Archie in Riverdale, and then
Uh-huh.
the young lady who blew up on the Yellowstone prequel,
Yeah,
1883.
yeah.
I don't remember her name, but she was also in another show too that my
Yeah.
daughter watched. But they cast them two as Zan and Jaina, and those two are pretty up and coming actors. You know what I mean? It wasn't a terrible cast, and then they got canceled within 3 weeks. That and the
Well,
Batgirl film, of course,
I
too.
don't think if I was trying to build my company back up, I would start right off with the Wonder Twins. Yeah, maybe do like Jake said. Superman needs to come back, and
Yeah,
go
build
from
the
there.
basics. Go with the basics. Um,
Yeah,
but you were saying about Hawkman though. You like seeing
I
him in live
did.
action.
Yeah, I liked it. But as far as Black Adam goes, I thought it was really good. I thought it was a good to me. It was like another comeback because I really liked Peacemaker because I thought DC was kind of like fizzling out. But I love Peacemaker because it was totally different.
Yeah,
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And this one was just I mean, well, it's got The Rock in it. So you know it's going to be a good movie, but I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Vic,
Yeah, to piggyback, for me, I love seeing Hawkman. My dad was a huge Hawkman fan, so he was so cool. Him and Dr. Fate were like the two standouts for me.
Mhm.
I thought it was a very fun movie. Like I think it was one of those just grab your popcorn, sit back, enjoy the show. Like, it's not it ain't winning any awards for best script or best plot. You know what I mean? It's not that, but I don't think it's intended to be that. It's not, this isn't the Batman. It's not,
Right.
It's supposed to be a good time, which, that's what The Rock usually delivers. It's not overly complicated to sit back and when people, want this like drama, it's not, Daniel Day-Lewis in there. It's like, hey,
Right.
Rocky, I want to see action. I want to see fights. I want to see big spectacle. And I feel like that's what we got. My thing going forward, the thing I'm curious about is they really painted him more as an anti-hero more than a villain. And
Yeah.
from the comic, in the way they hyped him up, when they're making this movie, is it's about to be the baddest dude, like, period. Like, to me, they were making him come across like, oh, he's about to be like the Thanos of DC. Like he's coming in, wrecking fools, doesn't care. But then he was a little more tenderhearted, a little more light than I was expecting. Would not say it's a bad thing. It just, I was just surprised by that because I was curious to like, how are they going to portray him? I mean, it's been out long enough now. I think it's safe to say with the end credit scene, and obviously they've been hyping up that Black Adam Superman fight, for years now. Like, well, why are they fighting? Like, what? He's not a bad guy. Like, he did what he's gonna do. Like, why? What are they gonna fight for?
Well, what about the thing that I loved the end credit? I like that.
The best part of the movie. I was like, yes.
But if you're a comic guy, shouldn't have that been Shazam instead of Superman?
Yeah. Technically, yes. I mean, they do bite Superman, but they have kind of shoved Shazam to the side in this, knowing that, Superman's the draw. And because Henry and Dwayne have the same agent, it's like, I think this was also Dwayne's way of getting Henry back to DC. That was a big thing. Yeah.
It was. And to your point, Jason, yes, he definitely is supposed to be the main nemesis of Shazam. And I think, because originally the movie was supposed to be Black Adam and Shazam in one film together, but Rock used his, it was like, these guys need to be split up, and you know what I mean? Everybody kind of gets their own little origin story. I thought Black Adam was an enjoyable film as well. Black Adam, to me, though, is a B-list hero. I mean, he is, right? I mean, not a lot of people know him, but I think people do know now. So that was one mission, right? Is people know who Black Adam is, or at least there is a Black Adam. People outside of the comic book world, right, know who he is. I don't think the movie has been as financially successful as everybody thought it was going to be. Remember, The Rock came from the wrestling world, right? So he knows how to hype people up, and he did get everybody hyped up. You know what I mean? I think for a character that no one knows about, again, this is a B-list hero, you know what I mean, or anti-hero. And so he did his job, and he did pretty well, for pandemic standards, $50 million opening weekend. But I think right now, about 4 weeks out, I think it hasn't stalled. It's still making money, but we're about 150, 160, which isn't a huge blockbuster. It is, I think it is Dwayne Johnson's most financially successful film. Almost, it will be, but when all is said and done, that he's led on his own. But it's not going to be. I don't think this is nor I think James Gunn and Peter Safran wanted to be building the cornerstone of Black Adam, which I think there's a lot of rumors that Dwayne was jockeying to be the head. Right. He wanted to be what James Gunn is. He wanted to be the Kevin Feige of DC, But I think that would have also been a bad thing, because then you're making him the main focus.
Yeah, and Black Adam shouldn't be the face of DC.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He should not be at all. Yeah.
No, I get that. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
But it was good though, and I enjoyed it. And I think, but I don't know if we'll get that sequel right away, because again, I don't know if it's going to be as financially successful.
Stuff with the mom and the kid, I was like, I couldn't tell without that. But I tell you what, Dr. Fate was sick. I would be shocked if he didn't get his own movie.
I think we will get Dr. Fate back again.
Yeah, I think so.
And I also think you'll get more Hawkman, because
I hope so.
He crushed it.
Justice League, if he's going to be part of Justice League, it'd have to be. But
Justice Society,
Hawk Girl in too. Let's go get them together.
I think he did a fantastic job portraying Hawkman, and I want to see more of him for sure. And Dr. Fate, I think we will, because those two were the highlights for me as well. Those two did a fantastic job, and I want to see. Yeah, I think I was surprised they killed Dr. Fate off, but that's why I think we'll be.
But bad. Peacemaker died too, so you know what I mean. So they could bring him back.
Way.
Yeah. So Jake, 2 questions. Have you thought about doing cosplay for Black Adam, and why not?
As Black Adam?
Yeah.
No. Look, doing The Rock is a little intimidating. It was hard enough to do Henry Cavill's Superman, but I think the bald head and the muscles, I don't know if I
that's the whole lot more just the
no. However, my friend Jared is doing Hawkman, and he's building a Hawkman with the fully animatronic wings and all of that himself.
Dang,
It'll be crazy.
that's hot.
So
That's awesome,
I
dude.
actually wouldn't. I just watched a horror movie where the girl was into well, it wasn't cosplay, but she was doing her own costume. But it reminded me of a video I watched where someone was making their own cosplay and cutting everything out, and so it's not just like something you would go and buy.
No, it's mostly like EVA foam. It's some people use leather work. It's foams, it's different high-end fabrics, it's sewing, it's a lot of PVC pipes for armor. It's some intense stuff, man. Like 3D printing's a big thing. It's a lot of different stuff, and it takes a lot of different, depending on what you're doing. I mean, you could have to do all of it, which is, again, the costume makers are what blow me away. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what do you have coming up next other than the our movie?
That is a great question. Obviously Halloween night's going to be the big one.
Yeah.
I'll be doing, from my standpoint, I'll be doing a lot of promo for Mandalorian season 3 when that comes out. I'll be doing Geralt for The Witcher for Netflix, which is going to be cool. The promo with Henry Cavill. I'm just hoping to meet him at some point before he exits the role. And then the last one I'm doing is Anakin Skywalker for the Ahsoka series. So those will be the three new ones that I have coming. That'll be really fun.
Awesome.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Well, nice. Well, before we wrap up, because we're going to wrap up soon, I did want to touch on the big movie that just came out, though, just to get your thoughts on it. Wakanda Forever, the sequel to Black Panther, just dropped a few days ago. What did you think of it, man? Just quickly your thoughts on it as a whole.
It's funny because my thoughts have changed on it since the further I've gotten away from it. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really, really nice tribute to Chadwick and the things they did. It was very a powerful movie, with the performances were amazing by everybody, especially Angela Bassett. I think she's actually gonna get nominated for Best Supporting Actress. The spectacle was great. It was a little long. I felt like they could have definitely cut it out, like about 15-20 minutes. I'm like, ooh, do I want to say what I'm going to say without getting backlash? I hate Shuri as Black Panther. I hate her as Black Panther. And it really makes no sense.
Right.
That it bothered me. Like, literally this whole time, since they've announced they were doing it, my only thing is, like, just please don't make Shuri Black Panther. Because what the thing does is enhances your skills. If you can't fight, it doesn't all of a sudden make you know how to fight. Like, you just are better at what you do best. She's like the brains. She's great. And she's great as Shuri. But, like, you have Okoye, you got oh my gosh, T'Challa's love interest. What's her name? Crap.
Oh my gosh, you're talking about what is her name? Nakia.
Literally standing right by her, both way more capable to be Black Panther from a makes sense to be Black Panther. The one just literally just saves Shuri. The other one's like literally the baddest baddie in all of like female Marvel as far as fighting.
Yeah.
Man, I would have loved to have seen them either one of those as Black Panther. The end credit scene gives me a little hope. And I'm not gonna say what it is for people who haven't got a chance to see it yet. The end credit scene is my favorite Marvel's ever done. The character in it might be the cutest little fella I've ever seen. First off, I'm hoping that because of that he's eventually gonna take up the mantle.
Right.
Which I'm hoping is gonna be it'll solve it, and that's fine. But if they're gonna leave it with Shuri, I don't like that at all.
Jason, did you see it
with me?
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to now for sure.
So I thought I'm with you, Jake. A lot of the things you said I agree with, right? First of all, let's take Angela Bassett. I agree. I've
So
said this since
I
I
was
saw
blown
the
away
movie.
by
She
her.
was incredibly powerful. She's always been a fantastic actress since she was nominated for Tina Turner back in the day, back in
She's
1993, for
amazing.
What's Love Got to Do with It. And ever since then, every role she's done is she's knocked out of the park. So I think she will be nominated for an Academy
Yeah.
Award, and it'd be kind of classic, kind of wild because Black Panther was the first superhero movie nominated, I believe, for an Academy Award as Best Motion Picture, and have the sequel come out, and then they have the first, um, actress from a superhero film be nominated. Would be fantastic. Um, I thought since the very beginning that they really should have just recast T'Challa. I still stand by that. Let's if Tom Holland had died, I don't think they would have just killed Peter Parker. Maybe and brought Miles Morales. So maybe that's a bad example. So maybe you know what I mean. That's a bad example. But you know what I mean. If I
You're
don't know.
honoring the character and the performance
Yeah.
they do by recasting the character.
Yes, because there's many stories out there. Black Panther, first of all, was it was huge, right? And it resonated with a lot of children, no matter what race you were, but definitely young Black
Oh
males. I
yeah,
think it gave somebody
yeah.
a hero, right? And so
The
now
hero.
you've got that. Yeah, you've got that was taken away. And yes, it's the Black Panther's still there as Shuri. Yeah, that's great, but I didn't like her much as Shuri as Black Panther either. I would have probably been happy with M'Baku, or if
Oh, he would
or
have been a beast.
yeah, you know what I mean, or if somehow they had brought back, even though he got a nice little cameo in there,
I
Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. You know
For
what
a
I
second,
mean?
I was no, you understand. I was so hyped because I thought that was the route they were going for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh yes, because I feel like that
yeah,
was the one exception where I was like, if they don't do T'Challa, like I'm like, I
right.
am totally cool with that. Like, but then it
Yeah,
kind of was like, oh man. And I guess we started seeing them go like the way I was going, I was like, oh no. And then they were
right.
both sitting there, and I'm like, oh, like like one of the girls is gonna get it. And then Sherry's like, I'm like, oh man, like
I know, man. I agree with you. But I still think they should have just stuck with and just recast T'Challa. And I do uh, that out of the way though. I did like the little different. I mean, this was a tribute to
oh
Chadwick
yeah,
from
big
beginning of the movie to the
yeah,
very end. Man, all the flashes when they had characters just thinking about him, the montage of scenes, the
love it.
way the movie opens up, and instead of showing all the different heroes, that's
Yeah,
when the Marvel comes across the screen, to
it was
have
just
all these
him.
Chadwick Boseman pictures. You know what I mean?
That was great.
And just the silence. So it was a very powerful movie the whole way. I also agree. I think it was a little long. And if they were going to give us Shuri as Black Panther, then give us more scenes with her in it as Black
Yeah,
Panther. Then so
her
we get
suit
to
was
know
cool.
her, yeah, as Black Panther. I thought Namor was awesome. I thought that guy was a fantastic Namor. I don't know, I've read Namor in comics when he's been in like group uh Avengers or Fantastic Four. I've never
He's
read
such a
Namor as a sole
popular
hero.
character,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
crazy. He's like one of the OG. Like he was like one of the
Oh, it was
A-list
him.
people.
It
Yeah,
was him. It was him. The original Human
Fantastic
Torch.
Four.
No,
Yeah,
well, I'm saying before
Human
Marvel even
Torch.
came up with
Yeah,
this, it was the original Human Torch, which was not Johnny Storm. It was the original Human
yeah,
Torch, Namor and Captain America, and they were called the Invaders.
yep.
That was their team. This is back when they were during World War II time frame. So he's
Yeah,
been around for a long time. I do like how they kind of differentiated Namor from Aquaman, even though they're very similar in power. But I thought the guy did a good job. Riri coming in. I don't know much about Ironheart. I think she's a character who's only been introduced in the comic world in the
yeah.
past 10 years. You know
She's
what I
getting her
mean?
show too.
Yeah, she's getting her own show. So her show will continue on Disney Plus. Ironheart. I don't know much about her, but I thought she did good. I like the inclusion of Julie Louis Dreyfus in there. You know what I mean? We saw her kind of get a little bit more of an idea of what her role is going to be here in the upcoming Marvel universe. And I think we got a little bit of a setup for the what do they call it? The Suicide Squad version of Marvel.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The A team or whatever, basically with John
Oh my god.
Walker and all.
Yeah, what does that take? Why can't we
I
think
don't know. I'm slacking that. What did I'm curious to this. What did you think of the post credit scene yourself? Because I feel like that was the that was the one moment that got me because I wasn't expecting that at all. And I
No,
was
I
like,
wasn't either. I was actually very surprised that they brought him in like that, um, or that character in, and that does give me a little bit of hope that there will be
me
another
too.
T'Challa if there's somehow some type of time jump or
Yeah,
something where they can
yeah,
get him to age him up so he can be back in, You know what I mean? T'Challa can be back in the
I
hero
gotta say,
ranks.
that's the cutest little boy ever too. He looks so much like Chadwick too. Like he had
Yeah.
the big smile and the big eye. I was like, oh man.
Well, it's out there. Spoilers anyway, because it's been out for a while. It is, you know, and we're at the end of the show. It is his son that they popped up there at the very end, and it should be. It was good. It was a good movie. It was a good movie. Might have been outside of Spider-Man. It was the best of the Phase 4 films to me. Outside of Spider-Man, I'd say it's number 2. Definitely better than Thor:
Oh
Love and Thunder,
yeah.
and maybe better than Doctor Strange in my
I thought it was
opinion
better
too.
than Doctor
So
Strange too. It was powerful. I'll give it, and the performances were
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So cool. Well, guys, I think we've said it all.
I think we have.
Wait a minute.
I
Wait a
think we've said
minute.
it all.
It's a horror show, so we have to at least ask Jake, what
Oh
is your
yes.
favorite horror movie?
Oh man. I have really enjoyed I won't even care and see if I call it a horror film. The newer takes on the Halloween movies I've really enjoyed. Especially the first one.
Sure.
The first newer one, if that makes sense. It was just
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah, yeah.
Really like that. I mean, still to this day, the movie that scares the heebie-jeebies out of me more than anything is The Exorcist. I've seen that, and it's like, well, I've seen it once.
I've never seen it, so
I've
I
seen
can't
it
say
once. I ain't seen
No.
it again because it scared the bejesus out of me. So,
Did you see it as a kid or like when you were a
I
young
was like
adult?
11. I was too young. I was not
Oh
ready.
wow.
I
Yeah.
think everybody usually watches it when they're
No,
around. I was like 9, so
And this is
yeah.
how it happens as a kid. My dad's like, if you see The Exorcist, like, don't watch it. Like, you trust me, like, it's really. And then when you're a kid, you're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
awesome. Like, I'm gonna watch it. And then
Yeah.
you're like, Bob, like, I think I slept with my nightlight on for like 2 weeks. That I mean, that's the kind of stuff that messes with you. I don't. Yeah, that movie's wow. I'll go with the new Halloween. Let's go with that.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Everybody keeps talking about this Exorcist movie. I guess I have to watch it.
Yeah.
I
It
have
should be
watch it
coming
one
to
day.
DVD soon. To the DVD. But Lee, at your age now, if you watch it, you're going to be like, why was everybody so scared of this movie?
No, I tried to.
I was gonna go with Dracula Dead and Loving It with Leslie Nielsen.
Hey, there you go.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
That was an old Mel Brooks film, actually.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
his stuff.
Yeah, that was. I never actually saw that. Gosh, what was that? That was 1994.
It's so funny.
I think that's
It gets me,
1994,
man.
1995. I'm pretty sure.
That dumb
Dracula.
humor gets me. Like, I crack up when I watch that film.
Have you seen Love at First Bite? You remember that one?
Absolutely,
With
yeah.
what was his name?
George Hamilton.
Yeah, George Hamilton. Yeah.
Yep. But Jackie Dillon was 1995 for sure. That's funny. Nice
Wow.
pull with that one. Nice pull. Well, Jake, man, thank you very much for joining us this evening. It was fantastic. We really appreciate you taking some time and speaking with us. We enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, guys. It's cool. I love hanging with you guys. So my pleasure.
Yeah, on a
Awesome.
personal note, thank you for everything, Jake, that you've done with and for BT Haunts Productions.
Man, it's awesome.
We
you're
appreciate you, man.
Like, you're good people, so I'm glad to anytime.
Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, we are going to be filming in the next movie. It's called Ominous. It will be dropping before Christmas. What a great film for you to wrap up around the Christmas tree with your family.
Yeah, it's a great family movie.
And watch, you know what I
Very
mean?
Hallmark
Pop it in right after a
Christmas
Christmas Story sequel. It'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right after
Yeah.
that. Or yeah, for sure. Well, no, but Jake, we appreciate it. Jason, my friend, it's been fun as always. Guys, thank you very much for listening to us. Hit us up as always. Leave your comments in the comment field. Share with your friends. You know, you can listen to us wherever you want to listen to your favorite podcast. Hit the subscription button, hit the share button, and we appreciate you all. All right, guys.
All right, man.
Later.
Hey, guys.
Later.